The song, What's Love Got to Do with It? It talks about a distrust of emotion, a distrust of love, having those feelings. Does that at all reflect how you feel about it?
No. In my case, love has a lot to do with it. I'm sorry. But with the world today, I mean, everything is very fast. And women have changed, and men has changed as well. So I think the song sort of really fit a lot of liberated girls. I mean, they're feeling like, yeah, that's right, Tina. What does love have to do with it anyway? And I'm going, oh, yeah, that's right. That's what it means. Oh, okay, you know. But in my case, I'm more of a one that I think love has everything to do with everything.
Are you quick to adjust? You gave us an example with the way you feel about that lyric. But in general, are you quick to adjust? Musically, personally, in any way?
Yes, the years of my life, I would say the 20 years of the 22, 3 years of working as an entertainer, I've become extremely disciplined and to adjust immediately to any surroundings. I can let people go very easily now that it's worked for me for years. I really have learned not to cling, not to hold on, to let go. And so that means adjustment is very easy to, if anything is switched or changed, I can just fit right into it without frustration.
That has a downside, though, as well, doesn't it?
Well, you know, getting adjusted to the change has a lot because you're already locked into whatever previous adjustments or experiences you're going through, and then to make that change, of course, you know, that's the human side. You just can't switch off and turn on. If so, and we would have our lives totally in control. But that can be depressing sometimes a bit, you know, for a moment or for two, but I'm just a sort of very optimistic person, I think, and I'm not very moody, a very person that hold on to depression and so forth. So I'm pretty, flexible and open, and I'm not depressed a lot. I'm almost always happy person. Except I have my moments, but I don't deal with them very long. I'll go in and cry it out, scream it out, and then I'm done with it. I just refuse to walk around in depression. So
you are on a third or fourth wave of success. Is there some sweet vindication about this particular point in your life? You have proved to the naysayers in the record industry, who like to believe there's no rock and roll over 40.
yes.
Proved that
Isn't that great?
You proved that. How do you feel about that? It must feel great.
I had a real hard time because I'm black. In America, radio programmers don't program you as a black person, rock and roll. You're R&B because of your color. That is something that has been, and people are not aware of. Prince just bombarded his way through there, and he just said, I am, and you will accept me. Of course, he had to make some changes, like as a guy. But I had to prove it over the years. You know, this is the part coming in of like being a woman and being black. I've been rock and roll all my life. I have stood with the rock and roll guys, and still they say, the radio programmers said, no, we cannot program her. She's R&B.
Because she's black.
Because I'm black. You have to go crossover R&B before you can make rock and roll. But I reversed it on them. My audience, the people, proclaimed me rock and roll, and so it was just forced. So it didn't matter what the radio stations were saying or were playing. It was selling pop. Everyone was buying it. It was just gone. That is how my claim to fame was, through my audience, through my work, through my persistence, because I am. I have never even felt the urge to do, say, pop or jazz, or I'm just a wild person. You know, it's controllably wild, my attitude about it, but that is my soul. And so the comeback is like to say to all those people, not with blame, but just to say, wake up, accept talent, accept people not for the color, but for what they do. Europe is very much that way, so I can relate to the European people more so than the American structure of doing things. But it is America, and I do live with it, and I accept it, and it's all right. But now I feel that I've won over them, because it's like saying, you knew it all the time, you just didn't want to give that to me, but the public gave it to me. So yes, that's the sweetness. It's like, and also the sweetness is that I did it And what I did, 7 years was without a record. I bought a home, I furnished it, I bought a car, I've paid for it. All of that was before the record. So now that I have the record, I'll go out and do all kinds of things. I did so much on my very own for 8 years without a record, without proper management, just almost doing it on my own sweat and blood and, you know.
Have you surprised yourself over the last 7 or 8 years
The first,
having to be independent?
Yes. The first surprise was I was forced to go into a date that I was trying to cancel because I wasn't prepared. I didn't have a band. I came back from a tour, didn't have a band, starting new management, and they wouldn't let me cancel. So I had to get a band together, I had to get the costumes together, and I had to alter a show for the Paramount Club in San Francisco. And all of that had to be done in 2 weeks and on stage. I did it. I did it. I didn't have a manager there with me because he's a manager of Olivia Newton-John as well, and he was just like overly booked. And I went and pulled out old costumes, changed my hairstyle, dressed the girls, dressed up basically 17 people involved, and karate. I went out and just bought karate suits for the guys. That was easy. That had a look about it, you know. And it worked. Just the simplicity of just quick moves like that made, and I got on stage and the reviews were fantastic. I surprised myself. And I had to do it once again, and I was always worried that I would top myself. Each time I topped myself. Even with this show here, I didn't have a producer. I didn't have someone to help me do the dressing of the band. It was like, Lionel Richie wants you to work with him, stepping right out of Europe. Each time I keep topping myself. And I don't know why, I don't know yet that I can, but I think that if I knew I could, I'd mess up. You know, I think somehow that if I really knew that I was going to be successful at it, it wouldn't be as successful, but it's working, and each time it is a surprise. Not a surprise, the surprise is, I did it. It's like, oh, all right, you know, it's not like running, yelling, and screaming. It's like holding the press, holding the interviewer's article there saying, I did it.
Is there any prejudice in the music business toward a woman who's over 40?
Now, this might sound egotistical, but I really don't mean it that way. I'm not threatened because I find myself attractive, I'm healthy, and I'm talented. I can stand with anyone, no matter the color, and no matter the power of who, like say, example, if it was the daughter of the kings of Europe. I'm talented, and I'm attractive, and that's what you need for performance. When people come to see a show, they want great costumes, they want to look at something that looks good. It's very hard when you are not attractive. I've had unattractive Ikettes years, and people have come and say, why don't you get rid of those girls? They're horrible. And I realize, so looks is almost a priority. So how I value myself is that I am blessed and fortunate to be attractive. Now, I didn't say I was beautiful. I said I'm attractive, and that's something that I know, and I know how to be attractive. I know how to bring out the better sides of myself visually, and I'm talented. And I don't try to be anybody else. Now, if you stick me with a jazz person, I'm not going to become jazz. I'm going to stay what I am because I'm good at that, and people accept me for that, and I win with that. So it's two things that I would have to say that I don't relate to it as people being prejudiced. They can't be prejudiced to me because I am talented and I am good at what I do. And you'll never lose when you have that security there. I'm sure there could be with some people, and I'm sure there has been in my case, but I didn't relate to it because I don't even leave myself open for that thought, is that I didn't get that just because I was black. There is a problem with black people, black women getting roles because there are no acting parts for black women. So I said, all right, I understand that. That's how it is right now. But I'll wait. And now look at the movies that's coming. Conan, the Road Warrior stuff. They're people with no color. They looked all kinds of ways. And you didn't know whether they were black or whether they were Indians or what they are. They are goons from another time. Animals and things are in movies now talking their languages, so you can be black and be it. I didn't hold a grudge. I just said, all right, I can understand the white race rules. They're leading. black people wouldn't fit that part anyway, because they couldn't do that because they're not fitting in with what is going on. I was no fool about it, you know. I didn't say, oh, they're just totally discriminating and blah, 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 blah. I watched the black movies when they were out, and I didn't like a lot of things that I saw. It wasn't a good production done of the good black movies at the time, and I didn't want to be a part of it, and I wasn't. I could see why they didn't put a lot of us in their productions. How you look, how you are. There is a difference in us. So I just decided, fine. When I played the role as Acid Queen, that wasn't a color. You didn't care whether she was green, purple, blue, black, yellow, or whatever.
That's a great part.
Yes, that's what I meant. That is why I say I had to wait, because you couldn't stick me in a white movie and I would stand out as being black. I didn't want to stand out as being a color. I wanted to stand out as being a character. So my attitude about that was, I accepted it because I could see that it was right and what it is that they were saying. I might get, a lot of people might come down on me for it, but I face reality. I look at things like how it really is. What is the truth? You know? What is not the truth is, what is the truth is that there are a lot of us that are great with little help. We are better singers, are better dancers than people in the white race. But there are some great actresses and actors as well, but we have to be properly produced and directed. And the time is coming for that now, because a lot of actresses are now turning to producing. And then it will come, and then it will be right. But there's no need to jump in the gun, and you people don't jump the gun. I look at things how it is, and I don't put blame. That's my attitude about life, you know? And I don't care who want to put me down for it. At this stage of my life, I am how I am, and I'm saved by it, and I have no stress, and I'm wonderful. Do you know what I mean? You just don't let things that make sense get you down. Feel that there's something I have to do. And I waited for it. I knew that I was here for more, because I was holding on, and I was knowing things, the right moves to make. Like I was talking earlier to someone, I know he's not ready yet, but he said, don't you feel sometimes that the younger crowd would, smirk you or whatever? And I was saying no, because I was always one step ahead. Like right after the disco music went out, I sort of went into a look of the Quest for Fire, and I hadn't even seen the movie. And then all of a sudden, there I was with the hair and the skin dress, and I went, and it was just perfect. The kids loved it. So I know things. I know things about myself, and I feel how I want to look and what I like. And immediately I can hear a song and I can say, I'm going to do that, I'm going to take that, I'm going to make it mine, this is what I'm going to do with it. And I just know.
It's good for you.
Yes, I know what's good for me and what makes me sustain myself with the younger kids. They don't care that I'm older. They like what I'm doing, and they don't even look at age. It's my older peers that's saying, she's 50, how does she do it? They are the one that's worried about it. The kids don't even care. They just like what I'm doing,
Excuse me, we're ready.
Are you ready?
Oh, ready.
Oh, were you running? Oh, okay, great. I think that's true. I think it is contemporary will be, because what they're doing is saying, why could I not have kept current?
Yes.
Why could I not have
Yes.
kept pace
You know
as
why?
she did? And where did I fall behind and she didn't? And so it's an enviable
Yes.
role to be in. But what happens, I think, it's jealousy.
Yeah.
more than anything.
Nancy told me that. She says, I was saying, what is wrong with people? What is this thing that they're saying things like, oh, doesn't she look great for 50? Or everything with Tina Turner today is her age first. Why? I mean, God, I'm not an 80-year-old woman. A 40-year-old woman today, early 40s, is not an old coot. It used to be in my mother's days. But what happens also with society is that when you get a certain age, all of a sudden they feel like they have to become conventional and conservative. And they start buying older clothes and doing the hair older and becoming old. I didn't do it, and I'm not going to do it until I have to. I'm just not going to do it. I know the difference. I have those clothes there. I know when to put them on. I don't do it until I have to. I know when. No, forget it. I know. You know what I mean? It's no, because I know how I look then. I know a wrong pair of shoes can make a pair of slacks look horrible. I know things like that, and I just will not do it. I don't care how old I am. However, I'm also aware of the fact I'm not going to look like that young teenager and turn around and have this old monster face. You stay, I know things about things like that. You just stay right on the borderline when you're our age. You don't have to become. You don't. You'll get a lot of buffs and beats from the high society people going, oh, she's trying to be young, but that has to be jealousy, if you're right. If you follow through on everything from head to toe, all they can say is that you look great and talk about you behind your back and love every minute of it and try to do it themselves, But the only part about me is that I'm more visual, and they're making announcements for me. They don't even know me, and they're making the announcements, so it has to be a form of jealousy, you know. But all I can say is, like, forget it. Fine, that's right. That's exactly. I'm not. They're giving me 10 years, and I don't want that, because for the crowd that I'm drawing, say if you had a kid, not that much of a kid, a teenager, they wouldn't want to come and hear a 50-year-old woman sing rock and roll. That's an automatic turn off, because they're relating to their mother. Do you know what I mean? So they think, mother on stage at 50, and then when they come to see Tina Turner, it's like they are shocked, because they said, well, my mother said, or my mother is, you can't relate me to your mothers. That's going to be my next thing. I am not sure I'm a mother. My kids grew up, and my kids and I are friends. And that is what my whole attitude is. I'll change when it's time. When I start getting the lines and I look in the mirror, then I'll know that, okay, but I'm going to do it gradually. I'm gonna take it. I'm not going to let it take me. And how I can is because I can, because I don't age. And I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I don't age.
No, incredibly, you don't. It's whatever you eat. Write down.
Let's write down
what Tina eats for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. To what degree was Mick Jagger instrumental in part of your comeback, in part of your renewed success?
Right. I'd love to sing Mick Jagger's style. If I had Mick Jagger's hits, I think I would be beaming. I'm very, very happy and very pleased with my success, but I would love to do their music. And if I inspired him to dance, his music has inspired me to become even more rock and roll. That in the beginning of me becoming what I am is the first time I walked in a shop and heard Honky Tonk Woman. It was like, I want to do that. And I literally begged, please do this song. You know, I got to do this song. It wasn't a choice of his. Come Together and Honky Tonk Woman at that time was not a choice of Ike's. It was a choice of mine and Proud Mary to do on stage. That was me finding out what I really wanted to sing, you know, all before it was Ike, with Otis Redding tunes and a lot of the Wilson Pickett tunes and a lot of, you know, the Ray Charles tunes. My choice was the rock and roll people. And so when I get the chance publicly, I'm going to thank people like Rod Stewart, Rolling Stones, for keeping me alive by making it possible for me to work with them, to let people still see that I am here, I am very much alive. And that is what did help. When my record finally came out, people knew my name. They knew, oh, I saw her with Rod Stewart. She was great with Rod Stewart, or she was great with the Stones. They did help me. And their music, because that's what I really want to do. But they write their own music. And I'm not writing at the moment. I will. That's my next sort of homework too, is sort of getting into trying to find out. But you see, I had sadness in my life. And those guys cut up all the time, so they write about their fun, you know? Well, I didn't have that kind of fun, you know? So I have to find a way to dream that and to make that a reality, to be able to write it about what I'm doing. And then I'll be fine.
I'm glad you're going to write. That's important for you to do.
Yeah, I did in the beginning, but it wasn't right. It was just about, I was closed in, and I was writing about where I was. And so now I'm having fun. I can start writing about that. I just have to put it down properly, you know? So I have to look forward for that. I do too.
Don't we all? That's good. Okay.